Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to the first Winter 2023-24 Preamble from GavsWeatherVids. Wow, what a video we've got for you here. Yes, this is the first Winter Preamble. Got two more of these to go in July and August. Building up the scene and whetting your appetite for the countdown to official winter updates, which of course will be getting underway in September. The first one of those will be on Sunday the 3rd of September, but we always like to do 2 or 3 preambles to set the scene and whet your appetite, and that's what we're doing for this video. So please, if you want to, don't have to, but if you want to, like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much everybody for doing that, and I shall get on with your first Winter 23-24 preamble in a moment. Thank you so much, you Richard, for the incredible preamble gift. We've actually got our preamble gift this time. This is not the winter updates gift. You'll see that in September. This is a special gift just for our preamble. So thank you so much, Richard, for the winter 2023-24 preamble gift. Thank you so much, my friend. I love it. Very seasonable. Is it? Woo! I don't know, do you? Makes you feel cold, doesn't it? Nice frosty morn. Got all of that to look forward to. So bad close, we're going to get to frosty mornings, I think, for the next few months anyway. Thank you so much, Richard, and thank you so much, Shryan, as well, for sorting out the years. So, with all that said, I think we'll get on with the first Winter 23-24 preamble. We're going to go to CET page. This is a direct follow-on from the first autumn update, actually. So, Shrine got all of the years together for the autumn update, and we're just using the same year, but instead of looking at autumn, we're looking at the following winter. So, I'll explain. May Central England temperature for 2023 came out at 12.5, which was 1.4 degrees above the 61 to 1990 average, which means, very simply, we're going to be looking at winters following May's with a CT 12.2 to 12.8, placing May 2023 nicely in the middle of the range. So, the first year we're looking at is 1953. May 1953 had a CT between 12.2 and 12.8, and so the subsequent winter is 1953-1954. Here we go then. Let's start with some winter data. So, winter of 53-54 has high pressure Scandinavia and out into the Atlantic, and has an easterly wind. So this winter is one that gets colder later, actually. It has a relatively mild start in December 53, and then the Scandinavian high starts making an appearance in January, especially in February. February 1954 was quite a cold and wintry month. Our next May, with a CT range of 12.2 to 12.8, is 1959. This is how winter of 1959-1960 looked, generally mild and wet, with low pressure in off the Atlantic. 1960, of course, very cold decade, with lots of really cold and snowy winters. But it starts off, paradoxically, with a generally quite a mild and also a wet winter. Just 1 year on to 1960-1961 next. This is also quite a mild wet winter. I think it does have a colder December, but overall lots of low pressure coming in from the Atlantic into western parts of Europe. The winters do get colder though as the 60s go on. Long gap then, long gap to 1990. But next time we have a May CT range of 12.2 to 12.8 is May 1990. The winter of 1990-1991 is a cold winter, especially so in February. There's a Scandinavian high, low pressure to our south, so winds in from the east. So this winter starts off quite stormy in December and does have a very cold and snowy spell for a few days in the second week of December. After that, it turns stormy and milder over Christmas into the new year. Then it gets cold and frosty through most of January of 1991, and then the cold really bites into February 1991, where we get a severe freeze up. The first half of February 91 is severely cold with a proper beast from the east. Let me go through 2001, 2002. It's one of those years where the analogues don't tell you everything you need to know about this winter. So this one with plenty of high pressure across Western Europe. It starts off quite a coldish sort of winter in December. That's quite a cold, but has a cold Christmas with some snow. Up to New Year, very cold and frosty. Into early January, actually very cold and frosty. And then through January 2002, gradually starts getting milder, culminating in a very mild and wet February. Then we've got 2006, 2007. So May 2006 again with CT range of 12.2, 12.8. Winter 06, 07 has high pressure generally across most parts of Europe. Low pressure is in the Atlantic and into northern parts of Europe as well. So this is a mild and dry winter on the whole. Very mild and dry winter for 06, 07. 2011-2012 is a brutal cold winter for Eastern Europe, especially around the Balkans, with this big trough of low pressure. High pressure is out to the west of the UK and Ireland, which leads us, I should say, into a northwesterly flow. We have a lot of cold winters between 08 and 09 and 12-13. This is actually one of the less cold winters in that sequence. 2011-2012, generally quite a mild winter, but does have a very cold spell through February of 2012 for a few days. Then we've got 2014-15, it's kind of like an average winter, really, with low pressure in the North Atlantic, high pressure out in the Atlantic towards the Azores, winds coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. Quite a westerly winter, does have a few cold snaps, but not much to remember with that one. 2016-2017 is a very dry winter and quite mild, high pressure just centred over northern and western Europe. That's a very anticyclonic, quiet winter for 2016-17. And then we got 2020-2021, the ultimate teaser. This is the ultimate teaser winter. So very, very close to being a severely cold winter, actually. This was certainly very cold winter. Lots of high latitude blocking around Greenland, back into the Arctic. And low pressure is centred over, the trough of low pressure, should say, centred over top of the UK, Ireland and France. Easterly winds into Scotland brings Scotland actually a cold winter, a proper cold winter. Ireland, England and Wales, we are having cold snouts, but not sustained. Milder air comes in at times. We were so close there to a very, very cold and snowy winter in 2020, 2021. Right, let's put all of that together then. So this is how all Decembers combined are looking, following a May CT range of 12.2 to 12.8. So we tend to get low pressure around Greenland, Iceland and in the North Atlantic. Low pressure also across southern Europe as well. High pressure out in the Atlantic and towards Scandinavia and western parts of Russia. Winds coming in from off the Atlantic a little bit like that. So it's a relatively Atlantic-driven scene for those Decembers. And not overly cold, generally quite mild. Now, January gets interesting. It's how all Januaries combined are looking. So you tend to get a mid-Atlantic ridge appearing, going up towards Greenland with a trough of low pressure across much of Europe. That will bring the wind into a northeasterly a lot of the time. And there are going to be years that deviate a bit. So you've got 2007, that's exceptionally mild January, but overall does actually look like it could be quite a coldish scene for those Januaries. And then all Februaries combined look like that. And I was expecting February to come out as like the coldest month, but it doesn't. Actually, February reverts back to being generally quite mildish as a signal. Low pressure in off the Atlantic, just high pressure Scandinavia kind of retreats away to the east and to the northeast. So relatively mild signal for the Februaries. And this is how all winters combined are looking, following a May CT range of 12.2 to 12.8. So we do see evidence of a Scandinavian high there. That's particularly so for January, of course. But still not an overly cold signal with lots of low pressure in from the Atlantic into much of Europe. There's a bit of high pressure in the Atlantic as well. Generally, overall, I think a mildish sort of signal. Right, so that's the first batch of analogues done and dusted for the first Winter 2023-24 Preamble. However, we're not done. So we're now going to look at May's England-Wales precipitation, which we can go to the UK Met and see that May 2023 England-Wales precipitation came out at 43.5 millimetres, which was 69% of the average. That was a drier than average May just gone. And so, very simply now, we're going to be looking at winters following May's with an England-Wales precipitation range of 36 to 49 millimetres. Again, this places May 2023 nicely in the centre of that range. So, here we go then. Starting off with 1957. So this winter of 57-58 with, again, high pressure in the Atlantic, low pressure from northern and western Europe. This winter starts mild and gets colder later, so it's what we call a backloaded winter, with the coldest weather actually occurring towards the end of February and into March. That's quite a cold and wintry March in 1958, which of course is more towards spring, really. So overall, a mildish winter, but a winter that does get colder as it progresses. And then we got, again, showing up winter of 1960-1961. Once more, this is following May's England-Wales precipitation range of 36 to 49 millimetres. This one quite Atlantic-driven with low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic into West Europe. Does have some cold weather, though, I think, in December. We've got 61-62. This is a cold winter. This is a bit of a teaser with high pressure in the Atlantic towards Green, but not excessive amounts. Low pressure across much of northern, central and eastern Europe. That leaves winds coming in from a northerly or northwesterly direction. So winter 61-62 does have its moments for cold weather, especially early on, and then again later in the winter. That's a very, very cold March in 1962, and that cold spell starts in the second half of February. It is overshadowed and forgotten this winter because, of course, the following winter, 62-63, was the daddy of cold winters, the coldest winter since 1740, and so that puts 61-62 into the shade. But 61-62 does have its moments and does have some cold weather coming and going in between milder and stormier episodes. Then we're into winter of 74-75. This is a mild, dry winter, really low pressure in the North Atlantic around Greenland, Iceland, and high pressure across the continent. That leads us to bring up wind from southwesterly direction, so generally mild and quite dry for winter 74-75 in the middle of the great drought years. This is another cold winter. This is 78-79 showing up following May, England-Wales precipitation range of 36-49 millimetres. This one again with low pressure in off the Atlantic into western and also southern Europe, high pressure blocking around Greenland. This is the last time we have a sub-zero CT January in 1979. How old was I then? I was 1 year, 3 months old, and now I'm 45 going on 46. That was the last time, all those many, many years ago, but we had a sub-zero CT January. It's been so very long since that occurred, and it happened in the winter discontent 1978-1979. It's a very, very cold and snowy winter. 82-83 is our next winter. This one, again, with high pressure in the Atlantic to our west-southwest, low pressure to our north-northwest, winds coming in from a westerly direction. So that's generally quite a mild winter up until February, and then it shifts into something a lot colder through February, culminating in quite a delayed and cold and wintry spring in 1983, but we do get like easterlies through in February 83. Before that, though, it's generally mild and often quite stormy, especially around the New Year of 1983. This is just a very mild winter. This is 87-88. This is a very mild and wet winter with low pressure in from off the Atlantic. Some sort of half-hearted attempt at some blocking around Greenland. There is a cold start to the winter, actually. December 1987, for the first week or two, has some coldish weather, but then it turns much milder. Second half of December 87, and the rest of the winter is a complete write-off. For anybody who wants cold weather, it's a very mild and a very wet winter for 87, 88. Then we've got 95, 96. This is another cold winter. So this one has high pressure focused on Scandinavia a lot of the time, and also around Iceland. Again, see how the low pressure is pushed southwards, winds often in from the east. It's a very easterly winter, 95, 96. Lots of easterly winds and Scandinavian highs coming and going. Never severely cold, never like a beach to the east, but just regularly cold, and often with snow coming in from the east on those easterly winds. There are short, milder interludes as well, but generally that's a cold winter in the middle of the 1990s. 0102, 2001, 2002 shows up again, so I don't need to talk about that. It's in the earlier analogues package. Overall, a little bit cold to start off with, and then gets very mild later. Then we've got 2004, 2005. So this one with high pressure in the Atlantic, often winds coming in from the west. You know, topsy-turvy, chopping and changing, has colder interludes, very mild spells as well. First half of January 2005 is exceptionally mild, and then it gets a bit colder later. And then we get quite a long cold spell setting up through the second half of February and into the first half of March. It's like a 3 to 4 week cold spell that sets up at the end of the winter, actually. So a little bit backloaded, 2004, 2005. 2005, 2006 is very similar, actually. And we talked about this in previous years. It looks like it should be an extremely cold winter with all of this blocking go right way back to the Urals. You look at that and think we're bringing the wind from the northeast most of the time, and it's severely cold. It isn't. It's actually, you know, not that cold. Just December, January, early February has a few cold outbreaks and milder interludes in between. It does, again, get very cold. Well, not very cold, but it does get like quite a prolonged cold spell, setting up second half February to first half March, and over a 3 to 4 week run of cold weather through the final stages of that winter in 05, 06. 2010, 2011 shows up next. December to remember. Well. Following May, England, Wales, precipitation range of 36 to 49 millimetres. This one with high pressure blocking around Greenland, low pressure in from the Atlantic. This is a very front-loaded winter. We talked about back-loaded winters last two. This is what called a front-loaded winter. All of the cold weather happening in the front early part of winter. Brutal cold in December. The coldest December in 2010 since 1890. Almost just 0.1, 0.2 of a degree off the coldest winter in the entire the coldest December, I should say, in the entire CT record going back to 1659. It's unbelievably cold and very, very snowy in December 2010. But of course, a lot of people forget that by February, it actually turns exceptionally mild. And then we've got 2011, 2012. Again, we talked about that in the earlier set of analogues. So this one, lots of low pressure for Eastern Europe. That's where all the cold areas, very, very cold in the Balkans. High pressure for us in the Atlantic actually keeps us relatively mild most of the time. But we do get one very cold spell in February of 2012. And then we've got 2019, 2020, this is the PV of Doom, of course. Look away now. Get behind the stage long if you want a cold winter. This one is the much remembered, much revered, much feared PV of Doom. Look at all that low pressure in the high latitudes, while we've got high pressure across southern parts of Europe squeezing in those long fetch west or southwesterly winds. So yes, that's a very wet but also very mild and often quite stormy winter for 2019-2020. That's the last year. Right, let's put all of that together then. This is how all Decembers combined are looking following a May, England and Wales precipitation range of 36 to 49 millimetres. Higher pressure in the Atlantic, low pressure across much of northern Western Europe, often bring the wind, therefore, in from a northerly northeasterly direction. You could see cold potential, couldn't you, with those Decembers or Januaries combined. Following that, May, England and Wales precipitation range reverts more towards a westerly signal with low pressure in the North Atlantic, probably just bringing the wind from west-southwest a lot of the time. And then all February's combined goes back to like a rather colder signal again, interestingly. So a bit front and also backloaded, and in the middle, like mild-hearted, I guess. This one with high pressure in the North Atlantic heading up towards Greenland, low pressure across much of the continent. So you could see a little bit of cold potential for those Februarys. Lastly, this is how all winters combined are looking following May's England and Wales precipitation range of 36 to 49 millimetres. So we get high pressure out in the Atlantic, low pressure across most parts of Europe. There is cold potential with those winters, a lot of them. Not all of them, of course, but 2019, 2020, we didn't have any cold weather. So there's an exception to the rule, but generally there is a bit of cold potential with these winters. Focus on December and February less so. For January. And we're done. That's it for the first Winter 2023-24 preamble from GavsWeatherVids. Well, we're off and running, everyone, with our winter preambles, and combined with the NAO forecast, Winter 23-24 NAO forecast that we released like a week or so back, you can see that we are already beginning to get those cogs churning, aren't we? Albeit at a low rate at the moment. Things will pick up by September. Now, there's 2 more preambles to go, so look out for those. The next one will be in July. The third and final preamble will be in August. I would assume that July's preamble will be looking at June data, and then August preamble will be looking at July's data, and then of course when we get into winter updates proper, we will find that the opening winter updates look at August data. So you see how we're progressing here. We're going to be seeing data for the coming winter all the way from May right way to November, which will be at the very end of the winter updates. So months and months and months and months worth of good stuff to come. If you've enjoyed this first Winter 23-24 preamble, please can you like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. You'll be able to see future weather content, including future winter preambles, and when we get to them in September, future winter updates. Thank you so much to Shryan and also to Richard Short for the amazing gift. Unbelievable. Thank you so much to #TeamGav. And for this first Winter 2023-24 preamble, that's all for now. And thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.